as I say, it's nothing new. It's just something in our time we haven't really, in our Western culture, been taught very much about. I've been to India a couple of times. I just find it the most amazing place, but they don't do anything without referring to, I think it's the astrological stuff, but there are cultures that they don't do anything without checking what's going on in the bigger world, so to speak. Yeah, we've sort of choose to ignore that, and yeah, there's a story I love to tell because I ring up people in the network occasionally, just random, to see what's going on or how they're tracking. And I rang a guy, and he was in Newcastle, or suburb of Newcastle, and he was totally stoked. He said, you know, I'm a retired journalist and I'm just looking after my elderly mother and aunt. And he said, I read the calendar and it said, you know, stormy weather or something coming. So he said, I just made sure I had, you know, the gas bottle full, I had matches, I had candles, and I had, you know, enough food in the larder. And that was the week that ship went on shore in Newcastle. And you couldn't buy matches, you couldn't buy gas, you couldn't get any of these things. And he just had his larder full. And he said it was just amazing. And so he just uses it, or was using it then, to make sure that if he saw stormy weather coming, he just made sure his larder was full. Nothing excessive, just a very practical thing. And you know, the tsunami in Indonesia, that was showing up on these calendars that it would not where, but there were going to be earthquakes happening, because the magma, the moon and the planets affect the fluids. It's not just water. Yeah, so the magma of the earth is fluid, and so when there's great stresses being applied to the earth from these different planetary relationships, there'll be certain times when you know, earthquakes will be more likely. Yeah, and you could actually you don't know where it's going to happen, but again, you can be somewhat soul prepared. I worked in England for a number of years, and there was a real English scientific, organic scientific boffin who used to come, and I'd sell him bread and he'd sell me eggs and you know, fruit and veg. But he was into bees and honey, and he thought all this biodynamic stuff was totally sort of wacky. He was dedicated organic. So he took the calendar away and he worked out certain days that the calendar said bees would be benign and when bees would be angry, and he did this up and he sent it out to all his beekeeping mates, and he asked them just to record on those particular days how their bees were behaving. And he was totally amazed, because when the calendar said they'd be angry, all the beekeepers said their bees were angry, and when the calendar said they'd be benign, they were all benign. Yeah, so it's a very, in my experience, quite common. There's a lot of people who really can't get their head around biodynamics, but the rhythms or the systems that actually manifest, or that we can learn about through biodynamics, they can very readily see, yeah, out of their own experience. And that's why our passion is to get people to use the preparations. Then you've got something to talk about, yeah, out of this, not just about me confusing you in your head sort of thing.